In a cave that had a red lake, there was a man with white hair meditating. He began to use his power, causing the water droplets to slowly start floating in the air. He closed his eyes and continued meditating in silence. He was Daxia's first genius, Ying-Zhang. While he was distracted, a man wearing a black suit appeared, raised a paper into the air, and started shouting, informing him that victory was assured and asking him to come take a look at the information. Ying-Zhang began to think and remained silent. He didn't even turn around to look at the man, as he wasn't surprised at all. He continued meditating and explained to Uncle Fang that it really wasn't necessary for him to take a look at Jiang Wushuang's and Jiang Junyu's information, since although both possessed divine-level classes, there were still great differences among divine classes too. Uncle Fang approached a little, began to observe him, and with a calm voice revealed that this time it wasn't them, but Gu Kaishin's new disciple, Zhang Chen, who possessed a kind of divine level never seen before. This piqued Ying-Zhang's curiosity a bit. He assumed Uncle Fang was joking, since there was no way someone who had awakened the creation class could be so worthy. Uncle Fang extended his hand and with a serious expression revealed that Jiang had killed Zhao Bai and had also drawn his sword against the protector of the kingdom without dying in the attempt. Upon knowing this, Ying-Zhang slowly began to stand up, causing the water in the cave to start falling into the lake. He took the information sheet that Uncle Fang had brought, started reading its content, and his gaze filled with curiosity upon learning that this was true. In front of him emerged a red dragon which began staring at him intently. He started observing the dragon and began thinking about the 9 miasma wings, the 4 blades of heaven, the 8 transformations to purify the realm, and Jiang Wushuang. According to him, this was very interesting. He began to gaze at the dragon, and his eyes filled with disappointment, as it was a shame that in the competition of celestial prodigies, Jiang would not be able to use the 9 miasma wings, if it had been the other way around. This competition would have motivated Ying-Zhang a bit more. At the same time, in a training field, some dog-shaped beasts appeared, and someone started fighting against them. This was a sexy woman who wore a blindfold. She was Daxia's second genius, Jaxuan Yu. She jumped up, drew her golden bow, and shot an arrow precisely at the beasts. She took another leap, appeared above the beasts, and began to rain arrows down on them. The arrows that were moving at the speed of light started to strike the beasts, making them roar in pain. Not far from the area, on top of a metal platform, there were 2 men carrying 2 spears who were guards. They began to observe the fight, and for one of them, Jaxuan Yu was a terrifying person capable of comparing with a great first-level master. But the other guard told Lai that his view was too low, since Jiang Wushuang, as the 3rd celestial genius of Daxia, had already achieved success fighting against 5 transformation masters. Jaxuan Yu's attack was so powerful that the beasts couldn't resist and their bodies shattered into pieces. Lai added that she was ranked 1 position above Jiang Wushuang, so at least her power should be equivalent to that of 5 transformation masters. After finishing off the beasts, she began to descend to the ground. She was almost invincible in long-range combat, and seeing that now she was practicing close combat, the guard thought she was preparing to face Jiang Wushuang. But Lai intervened and mentioned that he was worth nothing compared to her, thinking that not even the top number 1, Ying-Zhang from the capital, could match her. While the 2 of them were conversing with each other, the chief commander of the city's war district named Jiahongyan appeared. While holding his cat with one hand, he extended the other towards them, and with a calm expression gave his daughter the order to rest for a while. Upon seeing him appear, the guards closed their eyes and bowed their heads before him as a sign of respect. Upon hearing the voice of her dear father, Jaxuan Yu, who was immersed in her training, removed the blindfold from her eyes, and her gaze filled with joy upon seeing that her father had come. Without a second thought, she became happy and started running towards her father, explaining that today she had improved a lot. The father, who was holding the cat, asked why she was trying so hard for just a simple elite list. According to him, it wasn't worth being first. The father closed his eyes, raised his head, and with a calm expression suggested to her to learn more from him. If she had an opportunity to relax, then she should do so without hesitation. This did not please her much. She puffed out her cheeks, and with an annoyed gaze explained that her father had relaxed for 30 years and had become the general commander of the Maodu War District and the fourth sealed king of Daxia, asking if he had managed to get here by relaxing. The father did not expect a response like this. He decided not to continue arguing with her and took out his mobile phone. Explaining that it contained information about the prodigies she wanted him to obtain, asking her to take a look since he had obtained information related to Jiang Chen. Jaxuan Yu took the phone and with a look full of curiosity and fear, she began reading the information in silence. With a serious look, the father asked if she had confidence in being able to surpass Jiang Chen. Jaxuan Yu, who was reading the information on her phone, was astonished and with a sincere expression revealed that Jiang Chen was very strong, and without adding that he was also strange. She feared that he might even be stronger than Yin Zhan. The father began to imagine the sword god Jia Lingui, who despite being 100 years old, looked young. He started looking at his daughter and affirmed that Jiang was very strange since her great-grandfather had sent him a message saying they should be careful with him during the great competition of prodigies. Jaxuan Yu turned her back on her father and her eyes filled with determination. She was preparing to go to the Celestial Tower, and if she managed to pass the 50th floor, then she would have much more chances of obtaining first place. The father closed his eyes and sighed, asking his daughter if she didn't get tired of being so competitive and always wanting to win. At that moment, one of the family's subordinates appeared, struck his fist against the palm of his hand, bowed his head before her as a sign of respect, and revealed that her record for passing the first 10 floors of the Celestial Tower had been broken by Jiang Chen. She began to observe the guard and remembered that it had taken her 1 minute and 13 seconds, and thought that Jiang had broken her record by a couple of seconds. The guard opened his eyes and with a sincere expression revealed that Jiang Chen had completed the first 10 floors in just 37 seconds. Upon hearing this, her eyes filled with surprise and confusion. For her this was impossible since even someone at the same level as her would need at least a minute to pass the first 10 floors of the tower. The guard took out his mobile phone and after checking the ranking, mentioned that Jiang had just broken her record of surpassing 20 floors. Knowing this, her gaze filled with surprise and confusion, leaving her speechless and in shock. She got angry, turned her back on her father and started walking towards the door. Thinking that Jiang was provoking her on purpose, he had appeared early to break her confidence, just to beat her in the great prodigy competition. She clenched her fist and decided to go to the Celestial Tower and fight him until the end. The father began observing her and was somewhat confused. He was someone who took everything calmly while his daughter was quite the opposite. She was very competitive. At the same time, our boy defeated all of the beasts on the floor, releasing insects that began devouring their corpses. A system window appeared, and since he had broken the record for floor 20, it awarded him some rewards. The first called Spirit Arrow, a book only available for professions starting from level 40, and a second one called Treasure Map Fragment of God Gli. He needed to gather all 16 fragments to unlock a special item. While the insects were devouring the corpses of the beasts, Jiang put his hands on his waist, and despite the fact that the rewards from the Celestial Tower weren't so bad, most of them were useless. The only good thing he had obtained was a fragment of the treasure map. He hoped to gather the remaining 15 fragments by completing this floor. Another system window appeared notifying that level 21 was about to begin, asking if he was ready. Jiang started walking, releasing insects with each step, indicating that he was ready. All those awakened who were in the tower gathered to look at the ranking list. Everyone was impressed to see that he had far surpassed the princess of the Ji family by a lot, managing to complete floors in record time. No one knew where this monster had come from, and some remembered that the boss of level 20 was level 50. At the same time, in the Lu family palace, Luo Sando was sitting on the bed and absorbed in her mobile phone, while she was scrawling. A shocking news story appeared about how a mysterious young man had broken the record of the young goddess of Magic City Jaxuan Yu. Upon seeing this, she was shocked and her eyes filled with fear and confusion. She couldn't believe it and thought that the news was fake, but once she entered the official tower page and saw the ranking list, where it revealed that Zhang Chen had managed to reach floor 30 in just 2 minutes and 32 seconds. People in the comments were very angry because Jiang Chen had come from Jiangnan's military district to Madu district to cause trouble, asking him to leave and stop bothering the goddess. When reading the comments, Luo Sando's eyes filled with rage. She thought they were idiots for insulting her benefactor. She clenched her fist and, furious, called Zhao Qiu, asking her to join the livestream since those bastards from Madu were insulting Zhang. She decided to call more people to insult them back, and if that didn't work, she was willing to go to Madu herself. At the same time, Jaxuan Yu arrived at the Celestial Tower, and with a determined look decided to reclaim the #1 spot in the Celestial Tower ranking. She used the second transformation, causing a magic circle to appear on the ground. Upon seeing that she had come, the people became happy and everyone began to raise their fists since the ranking of the Celestial Tower could not be occupied by outsiders, and the glory of Madu's battle district could not be taken away by Jiangnan. Everyone firmly believed that she would be able to defeat Zhang. She was teleported to the first floor of the Celestial Tower, where a horde of monsters surrounded her. She drew her bow and stood firm because last time she had come here, she hadn't undergone her second transformation and didn't have anywhere near the strength she now possessed. The monsters began to approach her. She started releasing energy, and with a determined look thought that now that she'd upgraded all her equipment and skills, reclaiming the #1 spot in the rankings wouldn't be a problem. 2 minutes later, she arrived at the 10th floor, where there was a scorpion corpse. A system window appeared, informing her that she had completed the floor in 59 seconds. She began to observe the corpse, and while panting heavily due to exhaustion, she started wiping her cheek with her hand. She was somewhat disappointed in herself. She had given it her all, but even so, it had taken her a long time to complete this floor. She didn't know how Zhang Chen had managed to do it in just 30 seconds. She extended her hand, causing a magical portal to appear on the ground. According to her, this was a profession issue. She had a divine-level profession called Yi Sun Destroyer, but since it was a ranged combat class, she wasn't as good as him in levels with many small monsters like the first 10 floors of the tower. She decided to go directly to the 41st floor, since after that floor, there were only high-ranking bosses, no small monsters, thinking that in this aspect Zhang had no advantage over her. Once she completed level 50 and climbed up the rankings, it wouldn't matter if she wasn't better than him on the earlier floors. 5 minutes later, she was facing a monster with tentacles. She jumped to dodge, but the monster was quick and wrapped its tentacles around her limbs. Her expression filled with concern as she knew better than anyone that this wasn't good. She was facing an octopus-shaped monster. Using all of her strength, she used the skill called Golden Crow's Fire Rain and shot a powerful arrow at the monster, making it hit its head and defeating the boss. A system window appeared. She had completed the floor in 5 minutes and 29 seconds, setting a new record on the 50th floor. The monster lost its life and fell to the ground, and while little by little the tentacles were losing strength, she put her hands on her waist, closed her eyes, and began to pant heavily due to exhaustion, thinking that it had finally ended. She had been twice as fast as last time on the 40th floor. She had defended the glory of Mudo City. No matter how hard Zhang tried, it was impossible for him to surpass her record this time. She thought this was his first defeat against her. But it wasn't going to be the last, since in the competition for prodigy rankings he would lose to her a second time. At the same time, Zhang was also on the 50th floor. He defeated the boss without much effort, and while the insects were devouring the corpse, Zhang began to browse through the system window, and with a serious expression thought that the flesh of fierce beasts at this level was very good, since once the insects finished eating, they would be able to reproduce for 3 more generations, and after passing level 50, he would obtain a sword and complete his second transformation. He was happy because the second insect mother was about to arrive. Little Nine became sad, saying that she also wanted to eat, but our boy asked her to behave and be good. He wanted to let the insects devour this boss and promised that when they returned home, and he sold all of this, he would buy her something tastier. Jaxuan Yu left from floor 50 and returned to Celestial Tower using a magic circle. One of the men was shocked. He turned towards his friend with a look full of terror, revealing that the princess had returned. Upon hearing this, his friend started trembling and asked him to lower his voice. Everyone was very scared, and upon seeing this, she was somewhat confused and with an incredulous expression began to wonder what was happening here, and why everyone had this expression if she had just surpassed the 50th floor and updated the list. A system window appeared revealing that Jang had completed the 50th floor in 4 minutes and 9 seconds. She looked at the scoreboard and was surprised to see that Jang had been a whole minute faster than her. She took out a red pill, clenched her teeth tightly, and her gaze filled with rage. She decided to try again. Even if she had to push herself to the limit, she couldn't let Jang get away with it. This enhancing medicine could consume some vital essence, but now she didn't have time to worry about that. On the 50th floor, Jang was there, and in front of him lay the boss's corpse. He began wiping the sweat from his forehead with his hand and felt relieved since the insects had started to reproduce. He had completed the floor but couldn't see the sword anywhere. A system notification informed that the reward for completing the floor was epic equipment. The system could randomly grant either epic armor or an epic saber. After several seconds, the system granted our boy epic armor. While Little Nine was happily flying around thinking about eating, Jang began observing the system window and felt somewhat angry at it. This way, he would have to go through floors 41 to 50 again to get another reward. Now that the insects had reproduced, he gave Little Nine orders to go out and eat. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part,